Everyone knew that I'm the daughter of the founder. So since young, I was being told that, I will have to help my dad. Until now, it's close to 100 million, sleep in the toilet because they have. That's the thing where at that time, I couldn't take it anymore. And that was one of the time that I went into depression as well. Don't judge yourself. Yes, I think that's one important thing.
But there's always two sides to everything.
Correct.
How it brought your family closer together.
From Value Invest Asia, this is the Asian Mavericks. We explore the hidden stories of successful founders, business leaders, and investors in Asia. Here's your host, Stanley Lim.
Thank you very much for joining us at Asian Mavericks. And today we have Stacey Lim, the CEO of Toyoplas Manufacuturing Malaysia, Senang Berhad, which happens to be a subsidiary of Kumpulan Perang Selangor, a listed company here in Busan, Malaysia. So welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Stan, for inviting me over. It's I say it's a privilege, lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited and to understand more from you on your journey on leading this company and throughout, how you have grown it from the beginning when you started joining the company until now under the subsidiary of Kumpulan.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very long journey because I think that day I was calculating, actually I joined this company for close to 18 years. So okay, I think those that know Toyoplas, right, or I would say the Lim family in Malaysia itself, we are all in the manufacturing industry. So they use, like my dad, maybe a bit of the background history. So Toyoplas is actually a family-owned business. So it started off from my dad, Mr. Lim. So as you know, last time, manufacturing is booming in Singapore. So my dad himself and the siblings, my uncle and my aunties, they all set up. They went to Singapore and set up. And I think at that time, Singapore gave a lot of courses in manufacturing. I guess that's how my dad learned his skill from. Then right after, of course, there's some disputes and things like that. So he came out by himself. He set up in Singapore and then in Batam, Indonesia. So all along, I've been in a family where, lots of entrepreneurs. And I could remember my young days, even when although we are a Malaysian, but because the factory is Singapore, so me and my sisters, we all had our education over there. So we stayed over there. So at that time, I still remember, every time right after school, I will have to walk to the factory. So I'm always been surrounded by manufacturing, the machines and plastics. Even when I am in my secondary school days, whenever I have school holidays, my dad will usually say, "Oh, you want to help out on some paperwork." So that's where, I started to, I wouldn't say child labor lah, but just get a feel of, what's manufacturing about. Then after that, I think I went Australia to study. At that time, I didn't want to come back. I mean, whoever goes overseas, I think they wouldn't want to come, same as for me. But at that time, I think Toyoplas was at that time having a transition. I would say a transformation because we used to have a lot of Japanese customers. Then I think the economy, whole thing crashed and everything. So he said, "No, I need you to come back." That's where no choice. Then I came back. And also my first mission was to go to Shanghai. And at that time, my Chinese was really bad. It's like, Singapore, we just learned Hanyu Pinyin. So when I went there, was like, what's this? Like the Chinese, oh my God. I have to literally, and the Chinese in Singapore and in China is very, very different. It really, me a while to get used to there. Then I started off from a program manager because at the time I would say I don't have any technical knowledge about manufacturing because what I studied was commerce,
right?
Business and commerce. No idea, totally. And manufacturing machines, by the way, plastic injection, everyone would think, oh, my friends will ask, oh, you manufacture Tupperware, is it? Or pills? No, no. So my clients are usually home appliances and also, the telecommunication or security cameras. So these are some of the products that Toyoplas do.
This has been the product range all along?
Oh, no. Actually, we used to do a lot of automotive, where the Japanese customers. And then I think at that time, there was a shift in manufacturing. So when I first joined, that's where the transformation started, where we switch from our majority, 90% is Japanese, to 90% US based clients.
So
correct.
that was when you have finished your bachelor degree.
Yes.
And around the 90s where the Japanese economy is going down.
Yes.
And you guys need to transition.
Correct. I would say that was a very big hit for Toyoplas, but I think we managed to which actually literally changed the whole team in China. So so I was working with some Taiwanese and Malaysians and some R&D company that we actually I would say headhunt over. So that's where I also met my husband anyway. So so that's where we started to transform. I think I was there at the right time where I was able to speak English very well among all of them. But the only disadvantage for me is I don't have the technical skill. So that's why I started from the program management, so I can actually understand each process. I think I'm very blessed that, the mentors or the people that I meet, actually taught me a lot. So at that time, within less than 2 years, I was able to, handle one of, our major customer account already. At the time, their sales revenue was only about, $1 million US. And then, when I took over, within that 2 or 3 years, it has gone up to about 20 million, US dollar. So it became one of a major account, because I think at that time, a lot of manufacturing are also transferring out from Malaysia to China.
Right.
Yeah, if you could recall, I think at that time in 2005 onwards, a lot of incentives, right? Yeah.
And this customer is already a customer in your Malaysia plant, or?
Correct.
Okay.
But I think they only generate like just the sales revenue, not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we slowly built up our portfolio, where we started to going into, pitching US customers. Yeah. So until today now, Toyoplas has grew from, I would say, I don't know, like less than 30 million sales revenue per year, until now it's close to 100 million. Yeah.
Wow.
US of sales per year. Yes.
So that's when, since you joined the company until today,
Yes,
more or less.
correct.
And that one customer that you grew 20 times
Yeah.
their revenue, how did that happen? How did you convince them to move more manufacturing to you? Tell us a little bit more.
I think one thing is, because the US customer, one thing they are afraid of moving out from US is because of the language barrier. So, which I was at a very good advantage, where I could speak very well. And the other thing is, I think I have a very great team. A team where, because especially for salespeople, we always say that, especially in our industry also, the salespeople can pitch, but at the back end, you need to have a strong operation team to support, because, we have fantastic designers. I mean, the customers' designs are fantastic, but somehow when it comes to manufacturing, it's a different story, because you can have a good design, but when it comes to manufacturing, we might face that's the thing about manufacturing. So we will always have to discuss with customer, can you compromise a bit here and there so that, it's easier? Because ultimately design and function is one thing. Cost is also another thing, another factor that will affect the client's share demand, in the market. Yeah.
Basically, what you guys are offering is you have the language advantage that you can communicate with them compared to a lot of the Chinese plant at that time. Yeah. And plus you also have the same cost structure as some of the Chinese plant as well.
Yes.
That's why the end up there's an advantage for you guys for them to work with you.
Correct. And also, like I say, a strong team. So we have a strong program management team as well at the time, and also the operation side. Yeah, that contributes to our success, especially after I joined at 10 years. I would say Toyoplas actually grow tremendously. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe I move back a little bit on your personal side, right? So you said that this is more or less a family business where even your father and your uncles are all inside in the manufacturing field.
Yeah.
And so growing up yourself from a family of four siblings or four sisters, do you feel in the family has there always been a pressure that you have to join the business? Like how was that idea taught to you in, say, your relationship with your father? Has he always hinted that your destiny is to come back to the company?
Yeah. Yes. Since young. And it's very funny, like the Chinese tradition, they use your birthday date to go and calculate your everything. So yeah. So since young, I was being told that, I will have to help my dad. Then even though, I'm a lady, so it was a bit tough, actually. Anyway, that we will come back with that. But so since young, they have been telling me, you will be taking over and etc. At that time, I also didn't know what I want to do. I was like, okay, then I just go with the flow. But the impression, or in my memories that I had with my dad was, he's always very busy working, and etc. And definitely a high expectation on me. So that's also why maybe it cultivated me of being a perfectionist as well during my younger days, like when I was studying and working. So yes, it does put me in a lot of pressure. And because among all my other relatives, siblings, I'm so-called the eldest child. And in traditional families, they always hope that the first child will be a boy, be a male. So of course they got a little disappointment at first, but I think gradually they just things that, I think now daughters are better than the son. Then I was like, now that but at that time was really, really pressure, and I always so afraid to talk to my dad.
Right.
Yeah, I always find like I could feel that pressure. I don't know what he was going to say and etc. So when I could go overseas to study, I just felt like, wow, freedom, So, and at that age, I did wanted to rebel. I actually didn't want to come back to work, but my mom was saying that, your dad has a very tough time now. I think you should come back and help him. That's why that's why I came back lah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
When you say just now that you always find it hard to talk to your dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you want to say to him?
No, just small little things like, can you have maybe parents and meeting session, can you join and etc. Or I you're just a child that you keep on wanting to impress your father. Yeah, I think I was at that time, I was trying my always, but I could feel the pressure. That's why when I reach an age where I can actually travel overseas to study, I just quickly work out, my proposal and, submit to him and etc. So I think in a way, my thoughts is like I'm in a company with him at
Right.
a time, like I feel even at home that I have to work out a proposal. I'm going to study, what's the university, how much I'm going to spend, and etc. So yeah, I think that was how it has been like that. Yeah.
I see.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so after your parents convince you to come back and help them, in your mind, do you already accept this is the path for you, or you were thinking maybe I help him through this crisis and you move on? What was the initial thought when you started?
So that was the thing. I never thought that I'm going to be long. That's for sure, because I But because I was still figuring out what I wanted to do, so I just say, okay, might as well I just come and help him first. Of course, in between the years that I'm working with him, definitely still there's tensions, you see, because he has expectation on me, because at that time only myself actually joined the company. All my other sisters did not, although I think my second sister just joined for that while. But during that period was really tough because I didn't know how to convey the stress that I was having. Even after I married, I have this, I went to a depression, and I didn't know how to say it, because I always wanted them to have this feeling I'm still, the I would say the pride daughter, and that you should be proud of, and you have, plus I'm the eldest, so sometimes a lot of burdens has been putting inside, which is normal lah for elder kids. So you just feel that, oh, you have the responsibility of taking care of what's at home and etc. So, but there was a breaking point, 2000 and 2016, I think 16, 17, where I couldn't take it anymore, because then I started to really tell him how I really feel. Because frankly speaking, which I shared with a lot of people, actually, for what we say is the founder, yes, they have their tough times for sure to set up an empire, no doubt, which I salute, because I know what my parents has went through when they first start up the company. They have to even sleep in the toilet because they have issues of finding houses, rent the houses, because etc. So I salute. But for second generation, the hardest part is because we know how hard the parents has gone through and built this empire. The pressure of keeping and growing, that's even worse actually, because we don't want, whatever the hardship that I put in and at our generation just crash, so that's the thing where at that time I couldn't take it anymore. That's what I shared. Then he just realized, oh, he didn't know that. He didn't know that that kind of expectation actually, because we never shared. We wasn't that close, you see. So, so at that time, we started to open up to each other what we feel lah. Yeah, that's where then he understand.
What was the breaking point? You said, like, what, did something happen that makes you have the courage to tell him the truth?
I can't remember exactly what really happened, but there was something where definitely triggers that point that I couldn't hold anymore, because I think it was doubting. I mean, for him, he just would like to voice out his opinion, which is I'm okay with it. It's just maybe what I received was doubts, don't trust, and etc. So that was what I received. So that was the breaking point where I couldn't take it. Then I just shared with him how I actually felt, and how as a second generation felt. Like we always say in Chinese, 守业比创业还要艰难. Yeah. So then that's how it triggers him to step a back forward and really look at me as a daughter instead of a employee. I guess that's the thing lah. When you work in a family business, right, you always forgotten which cap you're wearing. Hey, today I'm wearing a father cap or a boss cap. That's which I understand. That's why I think at that time I couldn't. I just have to voice it out. Okay. Yeah, correct.
That period, because of course you mentioned that when at the start you were based in China. But when you have this breaking point, were you already back here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just said I joined. I think in 2000 and that's 5 and 6 around there. Then in 2015 I came back. Because of the kids. I couldn't stand the medical system in China. Every time when the kids get sick, you need to have the drips and etc. So that's where I started. As a mom, I said I can't. I said I need to come back. That's also when I switched from a program management to a business development.
Right.
Yeah, because at that time I already have quite experienced already on how to pitch customers, and we have a certain reputation already. So that's where we started say, hey, I don't care, I need to come back, because Toyoplas, we have manufacturing at the time in Malaysia, China, and Indonesia. Yeah, correct.
And of course, you also mentioned you met your husband
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
are in
yes.
China as well, while you're still going through, the pressure of working as a second gen
Yes.
and helping to help the company turn a corner, right? And in the transition, with so much stress on it, how has he been, a support for you? Like, do you guys mostly talk about work? Or how does it?
Yeah, correct. So true enough, it's also tough for him because we know each other. He's actually from the team that we headhunt over, where he started also from the program management side. So I learned a lot of those project management from him. I think that's where we started, the fire sparks and everything. But anyway, so I could understand his pressure because everyone knew that I'm the daughter of the founder. He knew as well. So he was also thinking, should I or should I not? Should I or should I? Because he's a person where he don't buy all this all because I need to have certain relationship to climb that. So he's not like that. So it was tough for him when we got married. People have this comment about, oh yeah, your father-in-law sure will give you, priorities, and he felt like, oh my God, people don't look at, the effort that he has put in, but instead of that, so then he even give even more the extra effort, where also during at that time or period, our marriage got a bit of tension because he spent too much time at work, you see, to prove himself. But he is already very good. It's just that I understand the pressure that he was having. But so it took us a while to work out our marriage and everything, which I think is normal for each marriage is different. So yeah, for now yes, we do talk about work, and I try not to wear my. So it's also a bit difficult. So I sometimes have to wear my boss cap and ask him, what's the progress of this? And then sometimes I have to, when I see he's very stressed, then I have to wear my wife cap. So my friend was always ask me, how you work together with your husband in the same company? I said, wow, man, you really don't know the stress that I have also sometimes. But I learned how to switch already, because I will also express to him, I have my stress as well. So you must understand, especially now we have been acquired. I have to report to so many board members, not just one. If it's just one, it's so much easier. We can just talk over during the breakfast. But now it's like so many. So it's a bit different. So sometimes I just have to let him know and educate.
I think you guys are doing a great job because, of course, your husband is a good friend of mine also, and I can truly see his effort in his work and how competent he is. Sometimes
He
when
is.
we're having dinner together, he still has his laptop on.
Yeah. I tell you, that one, it took me a while to get used to it. Then I always tell my friends, it's okay, don't worry, he'll be fine. Yeah. But I love his passion with his work. I think that's very, especially after, the pressures that he have. He enjoys talking to the customer. He enjoys sharing. That's something where you hardly see in manufacturing, but he has it. Whenever, customer goes with him to see the factory, he really enjoys telling customer, what we have done, what's our core competency. Yeah, so it's very rare, I would say, to find people like him. Yeah, correct.
That's amazing. And on, for yourself as well, gone through both a personal journey and also the company struggles.
Yeah.
Looking back, which one, when I ask you, which will be the biggest struggle you feel that you went through, and what are the key lessons you learned?
Okay, I think this one, yeah. Okay, so I did tell you that we had a team, right? Then actually transform in Toyoplas. I think during at that time when I first joined, I would say our former CEO Toyoplas former CEO. So she To me, I always look up to her where she's very good in marketing. She's very good in talking. She's very good in socializing. That's how I learned even the detailed things of observing what client likes and all these small little things like, oh, the birthday we send messages. I would say she's a very easygoing, you can feel that her sincerity and everything. So I learned a lot of things from her. And the sad part was there was a point where she changed, you see. She changed where to someone that was totally, I couldn't recognize. And a lot of things that she did was, it really hurts me a lot because for me is I really treat her like a very dear mentor to me. So when I see the changes that she had and also the tension that she had with my dad, was really, really very upset at that time. So and that was, I would say, the one of the time that I went into depression as well. I couldn't understand why would people, I would say, I'm not saying they are good or bad. I don't judge. It's just that so far I never encountered, especially she was someone that I was close to as well, you see. So when I see that, and it's very tough when you need to fight against her also at the same time because of all the things that she did. So it really at the time upsets me. So when she left, my COO actually sounded me and asked if you want to. I said I wasn't ready. And I always felt like I don't want to be her shadow because ultimately people will just compare, which I hate it, which is true. When I went up, that was the pressure also came. No one could mentor me. So I have to work things out myself. So I still remember I have this panic attack pills with me all the time because I don't know when it will come, and then I just have to have that pills pop in. So I think it took me about 3 years or so to really totally overcome because I was having insomnia. So that's where, I started a lot of medication and meditation, and then I overcome it. But that was one of the darkest point in my life. But I've came to realize that, well, people is like that. So I just take it as long as I don't do that to people. If they do that to me, it's their choice. But it's also my choice and my attitude how I wanted to treat you. But we can't control what other people is going to treat us or say about us. So that's how I learned. Yeah, I would say throughout these years, especially during the pandemic, after we got acquired, the pandemic came. Oh my God, every day it's like calls and calls and calls. And I, like I say, now I have to answer so many people. I was in shock, I don't know how. And I think everyone is first time encountering that part. And I also don't know what to do. Yeah, and it's stuck, and I can't travel. And the factories at the time, some can in function, some can, we still can produce things. Some factories cannot. At the time we have in Malaysia, China, we have 3 sites. And then we have in Indonesia. And also we have another one which is building in Hanoi. And we can't go there. So and then there's so many rules and regulations, and then, employees asking what's the compensation, blah, 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 and so many things. I think it was really also at my peak. I think that was, I also couldn't handle. I have to find my meditation teacher, please help me. Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, but it's good where I went through all this. Then I finally, it taught me a lot of things throughout that 18 years that I am with the company.
I like to dig a little bit deeper, one at a time. On the first part where you say that the incident partly causes you to fall into depression. Can you explain a little bit? Because for someone like me, maybe I haven't really experienced that before. But how does it feel like when you say you fall into depression? Is it a constant kind of feeling, or is it comes and goes in an episode? Or what really happens?
I guess a lot of emotion, I suppress it for too long, and this thing probably triggers it. And what happened was I started to, depression in one thing. First thing is the insomnia. When you don't have enough rest, then you start to not enjoying whatever you do. And I could feel my confidence level, it's really very low, and my self-esteem level was was very low. So what happened was, I still remember at the time we have this US customer, big group came over. It was actually my husband's account. He was managing it. But at that time, he couldn't come over. I can't remember what was the reason. So I have to host them together with one of the marketing agent. Then I think they did comment certain things that we need to improve on and etc. After some audit. I could feel myself shrinking down. I don't know why, but just naturally like that. The customer could feel, the customer say, "Hey, it's okay. We're just feedback to you. You can just improve. You have time. We are just telling you, what other things needs to be done and etc." I could see I'm like shrinking, and I couldn't lift my head up, I keep saying sorry. Say, no, you don't have to apologize. That's why I realized it was really that bad. And every time when I know I'm going for a negotiation, I have this difficulty in breathing and etc. That's how I know that I need to seek for medical advice already.
Right. What would you say was the
Trigger.
the improvement? Like how do you work past that?
I think I set little goals to myself. One thing is medical, of course, for that moment. But I told myself, no, I cannot be depending on medication all the time. So I slowly work on it by reading. So I love to read a lot of motivation quotes. At that time, don't have Instagram, so I take a look a lot read a lot of books. And then at the time also, when there was a close friend, brought me to Christ. So I started to go church. And that's how I started to find peace. Because I didn't know who to talk to. Because some things you can't just say it and people understand. And I don't like to explain myself from 0 to 1 again. The emotions. So I kept everything myself. But like through going to church does helps me by somehow or rather gave me that peace, and slowly I walk out from the darkness. Yeah, that's how I slowly pick myself up. I think as any entrepreneur, I think there will definitely be a point where that's a fall, no matter is it hard or what. But we always know that we have that strength in us that we will pull ourselves up. I think that's one of the criteria of being an entrepreneur. I would say that, yes.
Yes. To still remain optimistic in the
Yes, correct,
in the
correct.
moment of darkness. Right?
Correct. Then now I know it's always like that. There's definitely a light and a darkness. If there's no darkness, you will know there's light. So that's how the universe works. That's how I now learn to cut myself off on certain things where you just start to learn yourself more, and take small goals at a step one at a time. Yeah.
Right. That's definitely very helpful. I think I will note down that point as well to have do small steps one at a time. But you mentioned before that you guys was acquired.
Yeah.
Toyoplas was acquired by Kumpulan Perasaan Selangor. So how did the deal come about? Can you walk us through a little bit?
Okay, so before that, there was another listed company in Singapore wanted to acquire us. Same industry, manufacturing, but things didn't work out. One thing is also because we realized that if they acquire us, then we realized that if they acquire, certain of our factories will have to actually consolidate resources, which is normal. But then we were afraid that it will affect our staff, you see, because one thing is, yes, we benefit from the acquisition, but how about our workers as well, especially those that has been working with us for so many years. So then a lot of those conditions that they enforced to us, we didn't agree. So the deal didn't went through. Then that's where KPS came about. But before that was also another equity company, but they're very skeptical with the our setup in Vietnam.
Okay.
They say, why set up in Vietnam, etc. Then we feel that as a partner, I don't think you should be trust or what, but you haven't even buy, but then you already starting to judge already.
Doubting the decision.
Yeah, doubting. So I didn't, so that also didn't went through. Then where so KPS came about, I could remember it was a hard time to negotiate lah, because I think both sides, we wanted our prices and etc. So, but I could remember there's once where only myself, my CFO, and my IA, but I have like 20 people in front of me, each side, and then asking me all the questions. I'm like, oh my God. That is my first time, you see. So I had to look very confidently and, try to sell myself. Yeah. So, but after that, I was like, after the meeting, I went out, I was like, oh my God, holy shit, so many people. I was, at the time when I see them, I'm a bit shocked. I didn't know there's so many people when I go in. I say, okay, 镇定, look calm. Then I was like, okay, I look very calm. Then I answer. Luckily, they say it's good. The session was very good. So the deal went through in
Right.
2019.
And what changed after that?
Okay, so basically they actually freehand to let us handle the things. They don't have anyone that comes in to join to
Okay.
except for they have this executive committee members where they are like a bridge between us and the board. So they will help us to prepare the papers and etc. They are very good and very professional. So the only things change, I would say, is I have more bosses to report to, and which I understand because they're a listed company. And so where each money spent, it has to be justifiable. So then, of course, certain approvals needs to take longer time now compared to last time where I just need one person to decide, or maybe I decide, or my COO, that we three just vote. Okay, should we proceed? Yes, then we just proceed. But now probably take a longer time. Yeah,
Right.
correct.
Okay. For all major decision, or like say for an example, if you want to open another factory somewhere, that will need to go to the board.
Yes. That will consider a major decision of any purchase of the lands and any expansions.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And in terms of say KPI, does it change, or they allow you to set your own targets for next 5 years?
Have. They do. I mean, we will set hours and then they will go through. But basically, it's normalized, like your sales, your profits, and I think it's always those few KPIs. Correct.
But in terms of operationally, you're quite flexible on your own.
Yeah. They actually let us. It's just that the expansion, let's say if we want to diversify into certain industry that requires certain investment, it might take a while.
Okay.
Alright.
And of course, after 2019 came
Yes.
COVID. And you mentioned it's a big change for you guys, especially, a big part of your business need to be done face to face inside the factory. Walk me through how do you navigate that? How do you decide which is the bigger crisis to handle first, and how do you tackle them?
Which one was the biggest crisis? I think wow, because we have so many sites, remember? And the most stressful part is it was right after the acquisition and we have 2 years of profit guarantee.
Right.
So the last year we have to defer. So instead of 2 years of profit guarantee, we went into 3 years instead. So it was tough because to meet that figure, and there's so many open close of factories, and the regulation keep changing, which I understand, because at that time, oh my God, I feel like everything was so stressed except for in Indonesia. Because I think among all the sites, only Indonesia was able to operate.
Right.
Yeah, there was no shutdown. But the other stressful part was all my expatriate in overseas, because I know that it's tough for them. They can't see their families and etc. And also the vaccination, because different countries getting their vaccination, the vaccine, different. So my worry at that time was, first of all, to have my staff to be safe. I think that's our first priority at that time. Of course, we have our orders we have to fulfill and have our factories to get approved to operate. But our first priority at that time was, how can we keep our staff safe? Do they have sufficient masks? Do they have vaccine. We were finding all ways. If we could courier the mask over, if we could courier medication over, we'll try all ways to help because we understand the struggle. We were lucky because I do remember before the China shut down, I was in China for annual dinner, and then right after we came back, and then they announced, oh, no more flights and etc. Everyone was in panic. I was like, thank God I came back already. So I could understand. So we will always have to encourage ourselves, and once they were able to return, we faster book their first flight out to let them see the family and etc. Even during the quarantine days, we actually subsidize everything because we totally understand the struggles that they have. Yeah.
And when was the point where you feel that things are more stabilized?
I think that was in 2022. I guess it's a bit open up already,
Right.
but everyone could recall it's Malaysia. I think basically we just have to mask ourselves and then social distance, and then that's all.
Thankfully, everything is back to normal. Now, although you have sold the company, you're still managing it quite actively. What's your future plan for this company? Like, is there a vision that you are looking at?
Okay, so as you can see now, manufacturing, okay, I'll always tell my staff or people that manufacturing is not a sunset business. It only depends on how you do it and what value added service you can provide to the customers. So in our industry, because we started from just plastic injection molding only, and gradually customers say, hey, can you do a simple assemblies or not? Like maybe assemble certain things for the product. Slowly into, oh, can you assemble this full product for me to export and etc. I think my team has actually done very well, and we have team members, new team members joining us that actually bring all this sort of knowledge to the company for us to grow further, especially with the current challenges that we are facing, the tension between the US and the China, so much wars that's going around, and the currency fluctuation and material shipping. So how do we stay competitive? A lot of times we always will think that, oh, you know what? I don't have EMS. I need to invest. Oh, I don't have metal stamping. Oh, I need to invest. But I think for now is I don't look at that. I look for partners to do collaboration. I think that's more important because they have their specialties. I have my specialties. Why not we collaborate together? JV or what? I think that's where now you see a lot of JVs coming because we can always invest in technologies, but the know-how and the specialties in that is something where money cannot buy, you see, unless you acquire, which not that easy. So we thought that our direction is, once we find partners that we can collaborate and bring value added service to the client, we will bring everyone together because that's how I think. Because nowadays we are looking at localization instead of globalization already. So the clients that we are serving are usually within our region.
So there's
Correct.
still so much more that you can do.
Still.
Just finding good partners. And,
Correct.
having
And
a complete solution for the customers.
correct.
Yeah.
And we are still, I would say we are still far away from the automation, the industrial 4.0 or So I think where everyone talks about it, but ultimately it still comes back to ROI. So we are still working on that, on how do we automate our production floor, because when it comes to investment, at the end of the day is whether besides you bringing value to the customer, are you bringing any value back to the company as well?
Sounds like you have everything planned out and is in good hands. Let's go back to on a personal level, just by listening to your journey so far of since young, being groomed to be the successor, joining the company, but having to struggle between the internal struggles and those meeting the expectation of everyone, and how you gone past that, and also managing the company through the COVID period. I realized that in a lot of successful people that I interview, there is a never say die attitude. among
Yes.
them, right? And for your struggles throughout, there's at so many points that I can see that you could have just say, I give up, I quit, I don't want to do this anymore. Has that ever crossed your mind?
It did, frankly speaking, especially at my darkest point. Like I just now shared, every entrepreneur definitely will have a fallback. A fall. But it's the strength that holds you to help you to stand up again. So for me, it's my family. My family that I would say helps me to pull me throughout. And also, of course, just now I mentioned about after believing in Christ. I would say every time when I fell, I'll be like, I'm so tired. I'm like, can I just stop for that moment and etc. Then I will have the thought about the people in the company and my parents, my family. Then I find, okay lah. Then you suddenly just have that strength to, okay, let's stand up again and continue. Let's try and figure things out.
Do you feel that is your responsibility now, even now, after you guys sold the company, that is your responsibility to put the company in a good place to protect your parents' legacy?
I wouldn't say as much as before, especially after we sold out. But for me, I believe that I need my team, my people to be treated well in a sense, and they are paid well and etc. I think for me, it's people are assets ultimately. If people are happy, and that's really a investment, the biggest investment for the company. Is something that I wouldn't say like always people say, oh, no one is irreplaceable, right? But there are times where certain things, even you replace, it will be different. You see, the chemistry and everything is different. So I believe the group itself, the team itself, has grown to a stage where they are mature enough, and I'm always empowering them, because for me I believe in teaching people to fish instead of I giving them the fish. So they are pretty independent actually.
One of the most impressive thing that I realized about you is that, despite having to manage such a big company and your family as well, you still manage to find time to self-improve. And you told me that you are, learning a course on psychology.
Psychology.
Psychology as well.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
And at first I thought, it's just maybe like it's a part-time self-studying course, but actually you are going in a full graduation course. Why? Tell me what's the motivation behind that?
Okay, funny thing about me, my husband also don't understand. He say, you're not tired, is it? I say, I'm tired, but I gain this energy from socializing with people and getting, learning. Actually, somehow it just gives me more ideas and knowledge. And then that's how I recharge.
Right.
I loved all this learning. And when I get recharged and I have all this knowledge, when I'm able to help people that is around me that facing similar issues, I feel, wow, I put everything in use.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I get the positive vibes or the energy from. Yeah, correct. Every people has different ways, different channels of recharging. Mine is through learning.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
And, learning with others.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I understand that. It's actually remind me of a book by Susan Cain called Quiet lah. So I read the book quite a long time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, but I remember it quite vividly because it's talking about the difference between extrovert and introvert.
Yes, correct.
And the key difference is not really just that introvert is more antisocial and extrovert.
Yeah.
It's actually how we recharge ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And
correct.
Introvert like myself, we have to be away from people. Getting among a lot of people drain us. Maybe extrovert like yourself, actually you get the energy.
No, I also get drained by people. I see who's around me first. I also get drained by people. So I was
certain people.
Yeah. So I will surround myself. Yeah. So
with the right people.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's understand.
I also need my quiet times. I'm not always partying. I also need my quiet times, reading books and recharge a bit, and learning things. Yeah. So I do want my quiet times. Yes.
In the past, of course, a lot of times when we talk about being successful, it just means getting rich. When you are rich, you are successful. But now there's many versions, and I'm sure you also experience, at different stage of your life, what success changes for you. Can you talk me to a little bit right now? When I ask you what is success mean to you, how would you answer that?
Yeah. So last time I always have this thought when I'm in the 20, I feel that, to be successful, I need to have a car of my own. I need to have a house of my own and, of course, a decent salary and etc. But I think now what success to me, it's like I have the luxury time to have a slow breakfast together with my parents and my husband or the kids, or I'll be able to make breakfast for the kids and have some time for myself to maybe exercise, pilates and etc. And also able to do things what I like without worrying. And the other thing is that the people that surrounding me are healthy and etc. For me, success is surrounded by your loved ones and also able to provide them emotionally, physically, and if from the well side is able to, I think for me success is that it's really being able to be there for when they need you the most.
Right.
Correct.
To have the luxury of choosing what you want to do it with your time.
Yes, correct,
And
correct.
who you want to spend it with.
Correct. Without worrying about things like that. For me, I think correct.
Yeah, it's a very noble goal. I think it seems simple but quite hard to achieve.
Yes, correct. That's why, especially I have like so many things going on, the company, the family, and I still also have to upgrade myself on knowledge. So yes, definitely my calendar is always packed full. Then I was like, my friends will ask, when you have time? Okay, wait, let me see, because now I feel there's so much things in my mind and the kids are growing up, so many activities. I cannot remember, So I have to actually put down in my calendar. I say, you wait, I need to check what slot I can slot in, because, as a parent, you don't want to miss out, because one part of me is I felt a bit of guilt, especially for my two elder girls. I wasn't being able to be there for them during, I think, the primary school days. Yeah, because I fly so much. I fly until to extent I don't even, the next one when I wake up, I'm like, where am I? Because at the time, I'm not just flying within factories, going to factories. I need to go to client side, US, Europe. I was all mixed up, all the time. Then I find like it's very sad, when I think we had this conversation and then suddenly my daughter just say, well, you always are not around. How would you know? That really upsets me. But I admit that. I didn't deny. I admitted that. So I say, yeah. So during that pandemic was stressful, but it was a point at that time I really bonded with all the kids. It's like a restart for everyone, I feel, with my family and with my kids. We drew more closer. We understand more of each other. So that's how, even after the pandemic, after 2022, I adjusted my travel schedules. I start to spend more time with the family, with the kids especially, and to be physically there and mentally there to help them also emotionally, because sometimes, especially my two elder girls, maybe has my character as well, they feel like they are the elders, so they have to bear the burden. I say, no, you don't have to, really. Anything you can just share with us and etc. I think slowly they are now more open up compared to last time. That's how I know that, for me, that's why I feel success is really, it's not about the wealth that you have. It's really the luxury time that you have, that you're able to spend with your family.
That's wonderful. I think it also highlight, even though the pandemic can be a very terrible thing
Yeah.
that happened, but there's always two sides to everything.
Correct,
and,
correct.
how it brought your family closer together.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The last question, I guess, before I let you go,
Oh, okay.
and I understand your very busy schedule because we took 2 months to schedule for this meeting.
Sorry.
But
Okay.
it has to, a big part of me actually why I started doing this interview, and I continue to do it, even though, you can say this is just a hobby, hobby. I'm not making anything from it. But a big part of me is also, I hope to create an archive for my children of letting them understand what's important in life, and interesting people that I met through my life that I might not be able to share with them directly. I hope that this can be something that in the future they will just still, if YouTube is still around, they can still see it.
Oh, yeah.
So I always want to understand from you is, what are the key things that you want to instill in your kids? Like if there's things that you want them to remember and impart your wisdom on them, what's some of the key things that you feel is most important that they should understand about the world?
I think I've been always telling them that how great they are. I think that's what builds up their confidence. Sometimes I also find, oh my God, overconfident. Then I'm like, okay, which is good. It's good because, but I always encourage them that, just do whatever you want to do, because life is all about experiencing, no matter is it good or bad. It's just bits and parcels of life where you need to experience it. That's what core life is. You cannot be always happy. You need to feel the sad, then you will know what's happy about. And it's something where whatever experience that you have or one have, you can't buy. And time can't buy anything back. You see, since young, I always tell them, go. So I always bring them to experience things despite the, the tight, the schedule that I have. I always have my husband to be involved because at my age, my dad was so busy with work, he couldn't. So he a bit regret lah. He did say, so I also didn't want my husband to have that regret as well. I think it's the thing is, don't be too judgmental on yourself. Yeah. I think that's something where I always tell, you are one of your kind. No one, is same as you. No matter how good this other is, you are good as well in your way. You see, don't compare. So all these small little seeds are always planted to them. So in a way, they are very confident and very independent because maybe it's all the little things we teach them in life. So yeah, and I think I've gone through some meditation. I was also write. What would you write to yourself when you were, younger, and things like that? I always say, don't judge yourself. Yes. I think that's one important thing. Yeah. Don't underestimate how great you are. Yes. That's what I told them also.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a very valuable lesson. We should always learn to love ourselves first. Right? Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you for
thank you,
having
Stacey.
me.
I really appreciate the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.